Not too long ago, your sex and your gender were the same thing. You were male or female. The form being filled in might ask for sex or it might ask for gender, but the meaning was the same. Obviously, sex had another meaning as well. One didn't go to bed to have gender. Schoolboys didn't write yes please next to gender on the front of their jotters, but in terms of the classification of human beings, they were identical. There are also words that serve perfectly well to describe characteristics associated with each sex, masculine and feminine. A boy could be described as having a rather feminine face, or a girl could have quite a masculine set of interests, but there was no suggestion that these secondary characteristics actually made a boy into a girl or vice versa. Less charitably, other terms such as effeminate or butch, etc. might have been employed to convey disjunction between sex and behaviour norms, but again, without the suggestion that sex itself was changeable. Then the feminist and queer theorists came along and decided that it suited their agenda to redefine these words. Gender became a subjective category encompassing what was previously described as masculinity and femininity, but still using the terms male and female and even man and woman. That was a clever trick, because gender was, and is, still widely understood to refer to biological sex. So in one fell swoop, a perfectly clear lexicon was swept aside and replaced by a deliberate confusion of terminology. What's a man now? Well, it depends what you mean. Can you choose gender by a simple act of will? Well, yes, on the new definition of gender. But the terms used are also the same as the ones for sex. So it becomes confusing. How many genders are there? That becomes like asking how many points are there on the scale between extreme masculinity and extreme femininity. So who knows? Any number. And any new combination of masculinity and femininity can be declared to be a new gender. But the concept of gender is still associated strongly in people's minds with biological sex. So it sounds like endorsement of sexual fluidity, which is the intention. Having destroyed society's capacity for clear expression, sex and gender become the subject of perpetual confusion as people talk past each other because the words have become so loosely defined. And that's before we throw sexuality into the mix. So are there just two genders? Can you choose gender? Depends what you mean by gender. Sidestepping the terminological quagmire, what do I believe? Each of us has a sex that is immutable, leaving aside the very rare intersex cases. Each sex exhibits in general certain behavioural characteristics. That's not a problem, it's positive complementarity. If an individual doesn't fit these norms, no problem. They're no less a man or a woman. They have no need to question their sexual identity. The social conventions that distinguish between the sexes can also be positive, enabling people to identify clearly as being a man or a woman, regardless of how closely they align with the typical man or woman. Setting out to imitate the opposite sex through, for example, cross-dressing or seeking to dissociate from one sex through androgynous dressing are both bad choices. Harmony between sex and self-identity is the best route to fulfillment and happiness. Those experiencing incongruities between subjective identity and biological sex are best advised to aim for congruence with biological sex through psychological adjustment. I can accept that some claim that only changing sex or gender can relieve their mental torment, though the evidence doesn't confirm this. But the more pressing issue today is the promotion of transgenderism as a normal, healthy and natural state into which confused young people should be directed as a matter of course. Are there just two genders? That's not a fruitful question anymore. When the LGBT activists hear people say there are just two genders, they think they're ignorant of the definition of gender. Once the vocabulary is corrupted, intelligent exchange becomes difficult. However, are there just two sexes? Yes. And the whole idea of transgenderism and gender fluidity is dangerous, harming young people in particular. Or put it another way, some may think there are 76 genders, but I know that only 2 of them are good options, and then only when they match biological sex. Well, thanks for watching. We want to be the political party that's mission is to protect young people from this sort of dangerous ideology in our schools. So we are a political party. If you want to support us, do join us. There's a link below, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Bye for now.